Formula One world champions are often associated with being the most consistent throughout the season, or also having taken the most wins to achieve their childhood dream. However, there exists the curious case of drivers who have won the most races in a season but did not win the championship. Felipe Massa, 2008. The 2008 season started with no points for Massa in the first 2 rounds. However, the first 4 podiums in a row came in Bahrain, which was a Grand Prix victory. However, title rival Lewis Hamilton bounced back with 2 wins in a row of his own, storming to a win in Britain and in Germany. Massa himself returned the same back-to-back victories in Europe and also in Belgium. And then heading into the last round in Brazil, the pair shared 5 victories and were separated by just 7 points. Massa took the title fight all the way to the wire, but even with a victory in Brazil, it was not enough to claim his first title. But it did take him to 6 victories overall in the season, to Hamilton's 5, who took the title. Lewis Hamilton, 2016. The 2016 season saw Nico Rosberg take the opening 4 rounds in a row before a double DNF for Mercedes in Spain. Hamilton, though, fought back with wins in Monaco and in Canada, and then 4 in a row for himself from Austria through to Germany. It was at this point that the championship was then beginning to swing in his favour, until the fateful Malaysian GP retirement of the same year. Even with another 4 wins at the end of the season, it was not quite enough to claim the championship, missing out by just 5 points to Nico Rosberg. However, it was enough to take the most wins in the season, with Hamilton taking 10 to Rosberg's 9, who took the championship. Nigel Mansell, 1986. The 1986 season started very poorly for Mansell, as Prost took 2 wins in Imola and in Monte Carlo. However, 2 wins of his own followed in Belgium and in Canada, with another back-to-back win in France and also in Britain. However, Prost later scored a victory in Austria before being disqualified from the Italian Grand Prix. And as the championship went down to the wire, it was Mansell's spectacular retirement in Austria which cost him the chance to win his first ever title. It was a year in which he won more races than the Frenchman and led the championship twice. He took 5 victories to Prost's 4. Alain Prost, 1983. 1983 started poorly for Prost before taking a home victory in France for Renault, followed by a 2nd place in Imola, 3rd place in Monaco, and a 2nd win in Belgium. 2 further wins for the Frenchman came in Britain and in Austria, which put him in with a good chance of taking the title for himself. However, 2 DNFs in a row and 2 wins for Piquet put an end to that ambition, with the Brazilian scoring 59 points to Prost's 57, although it was Prost who took 4 wins throughout this year to Piquet's 3. Alain Jones, 1979. The 1979 season started very poorly for Jones, with a 3rd place in the USA West GP being his only points in the first 7 races. A P4 came in France after a string in retirements, but fortunes changed with 3 wins on the bounce in Germany, Austria and the Netherlands, with a 4th victory of his own in Canada. Interestingly, however, it was Jones who finished P3 in the championship behind Scheckter and Villeneuve. However, he took 1 more win than the pair of them, 4-3. Didier Pironi, John Watson, Alain Prost, Niki Lauda and René Arnoux, 1982. In arguably one of the best ever seasons of Formula One racing, 1982 opened very well for Prost, with 2 wins in the first 2 rounds. This was followed up by a win for Niki Lauda. A victory then came for Pironi in Imola and John Watson in Belgium, who took his 2nd win in Detroit. It was Pironi who then took his 2nd in the Netherlands, and Lauda's 2nd came in Britain, with René Arnoux finally coming into the foray with wins in France and in Italy. But neither of the 5 drivers could beat Rosberg to the title, with just 1 win under his belt in the latter half of the season in Switzerland. Pironi, Watson, Prost, Lauda and Arnoux all had 2 wins, with Rosberg taking just 1 and the title. Mario Andretti, 1977. 1977 was a year dominated by Niki Lauda, and it got off to a slow start for Andretti until 2 wins in a row in the USA and Spain came his way. His third win came 3 races later in France, but then followed a 14th place and 3 DNFs until a 4th victory in Italy. However, it was the consistency of Niki Lauda and the unreliability of Andretti which cost him any shot of the title. However, he did take home 4 victories to Lauda's 3. Jim Clark, 1964. 1964 started very well for Jim Clark, with a P4 in round number 1, followed by 2 wins in a row in the Netherlands and in Belgium. A third win later followed at his home Grand Prix in Britain. However, what followed was 3 retirements in a row as Surtees and Hill took victories, passing him in the championship, as Clark ended the season P3 overall on 3 wins to champion Surtees' 2 wins. Ayrton Senna, 1989. The 1989 season opened with 3 victories in 4 races for Ayrton Senna, with 3 second places for Alain Prost in the same time frame. However, a string of DNFs and no point scores for Senna, with 3 wins for Prost, brought the Frenchman back into the title hunt. The pair then exchanged wins in Belgium and in Italy, before their infamous collision in Japan gave the title to Prost. Both drivers later DNF'd in Australia, with 16 points splitting the pair at the end of the championship. However, it was Ayrton Senna who took 6 wins to Prost's 5. Alain Prost, 1984. The 1984 season is the closest championship battle of all time. It was Niki Lauda and Alain Prost who exchanged wins in the first 2 rounds, and once again for Imola and in France. But later in the season, it was Prost winning a cut-off Monaco Grand Prix to take half points that changed the fate of this year. The pair then exchanged wins from Britain, round number 10, all the way to Europe, round number 15, where the championship went down to the wire in Portugal, being won by Niki Lauda by just half a point. It was Niki Lauda who was the more consistent driver over 1986, with Prost taking 7 victories that year to Niki Lauda's 5. Jim Clark, 1967. The 1967 did not start well for Clark, with 2 DNFs, as Holm took a win in Monaco. However, Clark won his first race of the season in the Netherlands, followed by a P6, a DNF, then a second win at home in Britain. However, as Holm took 3 second places and a first in 4 races, the title was slipping from Clark. Even with 2 victories at the end of the season in the US and Mexico, he ended the season overall in P3, but he took 4 victories to Holm's 2. Sterling Moss, 1958. The 1958 season was filled with sportsmanship that has not been seen since. It was Moss who won the opening round of 1958, and once again in the Netherlands as well. Hawthorn and Moss then exchanged top spots until a double retirement in Germany. However, it was at the Portuguese Grand Prix where one of the sport's most honourable moments occurred. Hawthorn faced disqualification from P2, but Sterling Moss, who won that race, supported Hawthorn, whose points stood throughout the year. And then in a season where only your best 6 results counted, Hawthorn took the title by 1 point over Moss, with the latter taking 3 victories to Hawthorn's 1. Nigel Mansell, 1987. The 1987 season started well for Nigel Mansell, with a win in Imola. However, 2 DNFs followed in a row as Piquet took 4 straight second places, with an epic battle for the British Grand Prix victory, which Nigel Mansell took. Germany and Hungary were both won by the Brazilian, who scored 3 further podiums in a row as Nigel Mansell DNF'd in Portugal. 2 further victories in Spain and Mexico for Mansell was not enough to take the title all the way to the wire. However, he ended up winning double the races than champion Piquet that year, taking 6 victories to the Brazilians' 3. When do you think the next occurrence of a driver winning the most races in the season, but not the championship, will occur? And what exactly are the stats going to be? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching.